Let me make something abundantly clear right off the bat. I really like this little SUV. There's something really satisfying about zipping around town on electric power, knowing that you have another 500 miles of range, more than 500 miles of range, in your back pocket to spare. But I'm not gonna lie, it comes at a little bit of a price. Well, it comes at a lot of a price, if I'm being honest. Nearly 50 grand. But that's before the $7,500 federal tax credit that you can get, along with whatever local state tax credits apply in your area. Still, the Prime's price is quite a lot higher than the RAV4 Hybrid in sort of a similar spec. And its price before tax incentives puts it dangerously close to the Tesla Model Y. In fact, after tax incentives, it's about the same as the Model Y Standard, and its normal price before incentives is about the same as the Model Y Long Range. So is the Prime worth it? Or is it really just a stepping stone between our gasoline past and our EV future? What's going on, everyone? Jax here, and today we have the 2021 Toyota RAV4 Prime. Hybrid Prime, or is it just Prime? Or is it the only Prime? Or is it the Optimus Prime?
My name is Optimus Prime.
No, it's not that one. Despite the fact that the RAV4 has been out for a while now, I think it's still one of the better looking small SUVs on the market. And being a big Georgia fan, I especially like this Prime model's red and black color scheme. Plus, the black roof hides the stupid black thing on the C-pillar that everybody does. But it looks good anyway. It's sort of eye-catching and fun, and it makes the RAV4 Prime instantly identifiable to RAV4 aficionados. I'm just kidding. There's no such thing as RAV4 aficionados. Wait, there are RAV4 aficionados? Well, what do they talk about? Chip and Joanna Gaines? Sales at Bed Bath & Beyond? You just said it was great and you liked it. Jokes aside, the Prime's overall look is pretty great, and aside from the TRD Pro's adorable butchiness, I think the RAV4 Prime is the best looking of the RAV4 lineup. But are good looks really enough of a reason to buy one? I would say no. I mean, especially considering that the entire RAV4 lineup is generally better looking than the competition, especially trash like the Ford Escape or the Mitsubishi, all of them. The real reason that you would consider something like the RAV4 Prime is its unique powertrain, and whether or not that unique powertrain will work for you. The Prime is powered by a 2.5-liter four-cylinder engine making 176 horsepower and 163 pound-feet of torque, which is pretty boring. Boring! But the front and rear electric motors bring the total output to 302 horsepower and allow the 4,300-pound Prime to hit 60 miles an hour in about 5.7 seconds, which means it's genuinely quick. The lithium-ion battery pack allows the Prime to travel up to 42 miles on a single charge. And combined with the Prime's ability to sort of run as a RAV4 hybrid once the battery pack is depleted for EV driving, combined with the efficiency of the gas engine, the Prime can travel up to 600 miles on a full charge and a full tank of gas. That's ridiculous for an SUV of this size. And it would allow our family to travel from Atlanta to Houston to visit my sister, only stopping once for fuel, barely, which is crazy when you think about it. It's not something that our Suburban can manage. But let's talk efficiency around town, because that's going to be the decision point for most people. I don't have a very long commute to the school that I work at. I was able to make it to school, run errands, drive around town, take the girls places like to practice, and cover all of that on the EV range. Yesterday, I had to drive Hallie across Atlanta to a volleyball tournament, and we made it probably about halfway through the entire trip, going there before the gasoline engine kicked on. Afterwards, the Prime operated just like the RAV4 hybrid, and we averaged about 37 miles per gallon, so the entire trip used hardly any fuel. This was also the first time all week that the gasoline engine had fired up, and that's pretty impressive when you think about it. I mean, I was driving this car quite a bit, and I never once used the gasoline engine in day-to-day driving. And I think for a lot of people, this will end up being the crucial decision. How much of your daily life do you think you can manage on the Prime's EV range? I think the answer for a lot of people is gonna be like most of it. I was shocked by how much of my daily sort of chores I was able to manage and never use the gasoline engine. So that's the question you have to ask yourself. Will the Prime's 42 miles of range work for you?
Yeah.
It also depends on how much time you spend behind the wheel. Because thanks to the $3,800 premium package, this RAV4 Prime is fully loaded, meaning you have such options as the giant panoramic sunroof, a 9-inch infotainment display, and a 10-inch color heads-up display. You also get heated and cooled fake leather seats with memory, a surround view camera and surround beeping parking sensors, as well as adaptive cruise control and all of Toyota's most advanced safety features, including auto high beams, which are trash on this car for some reason. Seriously, I turned them on and they just would just turn on and off at random, and I decided to stop being that guy on the highway. You also get a heated steering wheel, which is important because if you've never driven an electric vehicle, running the heater drains more power from the battery than running heated seats or a heated steering wheel. So it's nice to have those in this car, so even in this cold weather, you can warm yourself without having to crank up the heater. Perhaps most importantly with this premium package, you get a 6.6 kilowatt hour charger on board, which allows you to recapture the entire battery's charge state in 2.5 hours using a level 2 charger. The level 1 charger takes 12 hours no matter what. But I have to say, I had it just plugged into a regular outlet at home, and I never had a problem recapturing the full state of charge overnight. So the only real downsides in the interior are the reduced cargo capacity due to the battery pack's placement. The Prime can take 33.5 cubic feet of stuff behind the second row, which is a slight decrease from the standard model. But the 63 cubic feet it can take with all the seats folded down is about 6 cubic feet less than a regular RAV4, which you might notice if you have an especially large dog or something. And the $1,600 JBL audio and nav system doesn't really seem worth it here. I like the JBL audio systems in Toyotas, but the one here just didn't really stand out for any reason. And the infotainment display is noticeably low resolution now compared to the latest and greatest, even from Toyota and Lexus itself. They have that gorgeous 12.3-inch display, I think it is. It would have been nice to see something like that here considering the price. But seriously, the resolution is... And what about that price? Because this RAV4 Prime is optioned up to almost $50,000, which seems a bit silly when you think about it. And as I mentioned before, it puts it in direct competition with the Tesla Model Y long range, which can go 326 miles on a charge and hit 60 in 4.8 seconds. But Teslas are no longer eligible for the $7,500 federal tax credit because they've sold so many of them now. But the RAV4 Prime is still eligible. And when you factor that in, the price of the RAV4 Prime drops to just over 42 grand, which is far more palatable and puts it in direct competition with the standard Model Y, which only goes 244 miles on a charge and hits 60 in like 5.3 seconds. That really changes things, in my opinion. And it also makes you question the decision to buy a RAV4 hybrid, which fully loaded costs almost exactly the same price. And like, Why would you, honestly? The Prime drives exactly the same as the RAV4 Hybrid, yet feels slightly faster thanks to its 302 combined horsepower and that sweet, sweet instant electric torque. It has the same sort of numb steering, the same sort of touchy, grabby regen brakes, the same very controlled and compliant ride. The RAV4 does ride very well, it's comfortable but it doesn't get floaty, and it has the same solid build quality and pretty nice interior materials. If you want to, you can check out my full review of the RAV4 Hybrid, link in the description. Shameless self-plug.
Say my name.
Compared to the 42-mile electric range, as well as the 600-mile total range, the RAV4 Prime starts to kind of look like a no-brainer compared to the standard Model Y, or something like the base Mustang Mach-E. It's not really comparable to things like the Chevy Bolt because it's quite a bit larger than the Chevy Bolt, and sitting in it doesn't make your spine feel as though it's being slowly dissolved in acid. I'm sorry, I enjoyed the Chevy Bolt. You can check out my review of that as well, but the seats in it were god-awful. Apparently they're being redesigned or something, but I digress. Because there's actually another elephant in the room. If you skip the all-wheel drive, you can get the excellent Toyota Highlander Hybrid for the same $49,500 price. And that's fully loaded, which means you get the excellent 12.3-inch infotainment display, as well as a much better JBL sound system. And it has actual leather, not the sort of fake leather in the RAV4 Prime, and other improved interior materials. My recent Highlander Hybrid tester was maxed out at $52,000, but it is possible to get lower trim levels of the Highlander Hybrid for closer to the $42,000 price the RAV4 Prime would be after federal tax incentives. Did you keep up with all that? If you're being realistic about your needs, it might be something you'd want to consider, depending on how frequently you think you will exceed the RAV4 Prime's 42-mile EV range, as well as the space considerations, because the Highlander is quite a bit bigger than the RAV4. So should you buy a RAV4 Prime? I think it all boils down to how often you think you are going to exceed that 42-mile EV range. That, to me, is the key to the whole sort of value proposition. If you stay within that range, then the RAV4 Prime does make a lot of sense. In fact, in my opinion, it makes more sense than the hybrid model. And I thought the hybrid model was excellent. In fact, I said it was the best small SUV I tested last year when I did my best of 2020, which you could also check out in the description. In fact, just go to the description and check out everything, because I make lots of videos, and they're all amazing, in my humble opinion. You might disagree. I think you'll agree, though.
I don't care!
I sort of think the RAV4 Prime makes the RAV4 Hybrid obsolete. But if you need more space for people and things, like maybe you're considering this as your only family vehicle, you might want to check out the Highlander Hybrid first. It might give you more for your money, and you might realize that the space outweighs that sort of 42-mile EV range. However, if the Prime is a second car, like it would be for us, it would work really, really well, and I could see us using it quite a bit. And who knows, depending on your needs, you might feel the exact same way. Guys, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. It means so much to me when people leave comments about, car buying advice, that they picked up a car that they saw in my videos, or they use my videos to help inform their buying decision. I really appreciate it, and I just want you to know that I take that responsibility extremely seriously. And if there's anything that you ever want to know about a particular model that I didn't cover in the video, shoot me a comment or shoot me a message on Instagram or something, and I will try to respond. I do love engaging with people and trying to create this little community here of car enthusiasts who also have the practical needs of a family man like me. I hope you found this video valuable. If you do, please consider giving it a like, maybe subscribe to the channel, maybe share it with some friends and family. I really appreciate it. And until next time, ride safe, drive safe, and I will catch you in the next video. Peace. Nothing applies here in Georgia because they got rid of the state tax incentives because they're stupid. Someone's shooting guns? Well, I am in the country, like rural Georgia, so.